Alright guys, hey! I've been back to school. That means I've started doing lots of reading, which means I have lots of thoughts, which means I'm going to share them all with you right now. Hope you're excited. It's not going to be a typical lesson video that's kind of structured with archaeology or how to do something. This is me just ranting at you about something that I read that I thought was cool and very important, and it made me think, and so I'm going to make you think too. So guys, I was recently reading a chapter in Contemporary Theory of Conservation by Salvador Munoz Viñas. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I definitely did. It was regarding the reasons for conservation. And when you first think about conservation, the reasoning behind what we do, the first thing that comes to mind is that there is an object of high monetary or cultural value that needs care. Now, for me anyways, I never really thought too much into how the object acquired such a status. Obviously, I've wondered and read about why we choose to save some objects and not some others, but this chapter brought up some very extremely interesting ideas behind the psychology of conservation and restoration, and I really couldn't get them out of my head, so I thought I would share them with you. You're welcome. The first thing that the chapter brought to light for me is how we project our own fears and issues of aging onto our cultural heritage. We are so concerned with living as long as we can while looking as good as we can. And we actually are putting that onto conservation and restoration. It's exactly what we're doing with this. Countless objects have been overcleaned and too heavily restored in the past in order to keep them looking fresh and new. Museums and other cultural institutions are always really pressured to keep their masterpieces in pristine condition because most of their profit, after all, is made from visitors coming to see these amazing masterpieces. And I get it, but how is someone who's not from an art historical background supposed to be astounded and, completely breathless when going in to see the birth of Venus at first glance if it's not looking the way it does? If a painting like that is covered in a layer of dirt or the varnish is yellowed and it's showing its true age, a lot of people won't take the time to look below it to see the beauty underneath the surface there. And we live in a society where we cherish the new, we chase what's fresh and disregard the old. And you only have to open a magazine, to turn on your computer, to open Instagram, launch Instagram, to see that this also applies to people as well. The chapter also quotes an author saying that we interfere with the masterpieces of the past so that masterworks are adapted to our own mediocrity. We are compensating through our present shortcomings by interjecting ourselves into the past. And this is using our superior science and our technology to try and one-up everybody and kind of make us a little bit more preeminent in society and compared to the great masters that have lived before us. We're systematically demystifying the legends of the past in order to insert our dominance over the present. We know we will never be as good as Raphael or Michelangelo, and we'll never be able to have built the pyramids or Stonehenge with the primitive tools that the people who did build them at the time accomplished. Hell, we can't even figure out how to do it with the technology that we do have today. This chapter stated that the 20th century is more uncertain and anxious about its relationship with history than any other previous age. And this is so true. Until the time of the Industrial Revolution, there was no real separation between the contemporary society and the past. Everything was just a continuation from what came before it. But after the turn of the century, we all started viewing history as something separate, something very distant from our own time. And this changed our entire thought process when it comes to approaching and treating history. But coming back to those objects now and relating it to our shared cultural history, one final remark was made that really stuck with me. And it's that when we care for something, it shows our appreciation for it and what it symbolizes. We put meaning onto these objects, and the ones that we have chosen to care for are the ones that have gained status as part of our cultural history. I never realized this before, but it's us who chooses what our cultural heritage should be. We've shaped our own view of history and put importance on certain things instead of others. And it's this act of caring and conservation that makes an object or piece of art culturally significant to our civilization, not the significance of the object that demands conservation. And it was a really cool thing to think about and learn about, and it's going to completely change the way I approach an object when I'm conserving it, or think about an object, or think about history in general, people in general, museums in general. And I hope I was able to kind of like make me blow your mind a little bit, could change, or at least, put a little bit of an idea in your mind as to how you think about the past or think about different objects like that. So that was my rant, you guys. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. And if you want to read the article or the book, I put a link to that in my website. Especially you can get a link for that website in the description below. You can get a little bit of a write-up about my rant. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you like my rants on readings, please send me things that you also thought were thought-provoking. I'll definitely read them. I'll do a response video to them as well. It's always fun to read something that completely just changes your way of thought about a certain subject. So definitely go out there, start reading something. Send me things that are really interesting, especially about archaeology, history, conservation, whatever you like. And I'm gonna go continue reading this book because homework and such. So stay dirty, my friends.